All right, so I welcome everybody and I'll call the agenda review meeting of town board and town staff to order. We will start with a pledge of allegiance. So I will do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right, so we will hop into.
Before you get into the resident.
Yes.
I had a resident ask me about where the accompanying resolution was for the highway superintendent salary. We don't really have anything on that agenda explaining what that public hearing is for. What exactly they can discuss.
That didn't get back on here. Can we add that? Sue, can we make a note to add that? I don't know how it didn't get back on here.
Is it a continued resolution or?
No, that would be the resolutions that Nadler sent.
He didn't send one for that. He sent one for highway superintendent. The resolution?
Yes.
What number is it?
Correct. Correct.
So, and the other question is, if we are gonna be anticipating voting on a resolution about that today? Because if we are, and it's a public hearing, how are we gonna inform the public now that this has been published already?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think hand carrying that is appropriate when there's a
No.
public
What's
hearing.
that? We announced the public hearing for highway superintendent.
We announced the
But they don't
public
know what
hearing,
it's
but the
about.
resolution.
Yes, there's a draft local law.
So is
that
it 131B? 2024-131B is what I see for Nadler, the increased water superintendent.
So that would be continued.
And then it's 131A, public hearing to authorize highway superintendent.
Oh,
No,
No,
so
I thought there was some change.
so we'll have to look at that and we'll have to just look at that to see if we can get something out. It would have to get out. We're a day late from our policy to have it out there, but we would have to have it out by today.
You can just send an amended agenda out
Yeah.
and then explain there was
That's
an
fine.
error.
Right, we can set, yeah, vote it,
And now you've added it.
but we should get that out today and then we can also put that out on other forms of
What exactly
communications.
is missing?
The actual agenda, because what the agenda item, because what happened with this, with discussion and other things, there was a resolution that I swear Nadler wrote and sent in,
You did.
with any change of the water superintendent is gone, any reference to a change of the water superintendent is gone in this. And it just has the references to change in the highway superintendent. So instead of including water, the resolution just deals with highway, because water, we're taking that off the table right now.
It's
So I've
just they
got,
need to know what to
they
talk
need to
about in
know
the
what-
public
right.
hearing.
and that is exactly correct.
So the resolution was from Chris on the 17th at 8:41 a.m.
I think it's 131A.
that would have been last month.
Those he presented at the
No,
meeting.
the one he's talking about, the 131A
Yeah.
would be last month.
That
No,
was last month.
I don't think that's changed.
It's changed.
Hence my point of that.
yeah, so those are the ones that he prepared at the meeting if needed last month. All right, so we'll make sure that gets out. We'll get an amended out today. And we'll get that changed and get that updated.
But just so you're aware, I did put the local law draft
Mhm.
for the change on the website.
And the local law spells out the salary change, correct? Cause it has to.
Yes.
Okay. So it's there,
But not here.
the documentation is there, but it's not included in this. So we can just make that
So
tweak.
we're looking for a resolution.
Yeah, we're gonna make that tweak with that
Make
resolution.
sure we all get that too, please.
Yeah. All right. Finance, Jess, you wanna jump into those?
Sure. I don't have them right in front of me.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. It's okay.
The first one's past due and active water account balances, which I don't think is really Justice World that much, but
Yeah, that is really a highway water thing.
and then there's a
Those
bunch
are
of
accounts
shirts.
that Jim deems to be inactive, and they're gonna waive the balances.
Okay.
And there's a whole bunch of sureties all the way.
Right.
in.
Sureties, which are the clerk's office.
Do we have any question on any of the sureties? Well, let's just go through those one at a time real quick. I'm not gonna read them. And get into those. So we have a surety for what, surety 155 on Cooley Road. We have number 156, which is the Venezia surety release.
So, they have surety releases on here, but they owe chargebacks, and per our town policy, they are supposed to be up to date on their chargebacks owed before we release their surety.
Okay.
Not all the Fox Ridge ones, we should not be approving.
So is that all of Fox Ridge, or is that just because these are different subdivision phases, so they're all different sureties?
When we collect chargebacks, it's on the total project, not the phases.
Okay,
Has anybody told Rocco?
We are gonna get that out to, and I think I have to get to Sarah to verify the amounts owed.
so when did we know they still had chargebacks?
Whenever they don't pay, I think it becomes past due after 60 days after they are sent the first invoice, is that right? Anyway, I
Yeah.
mean, they've received these bills, they just haven't paid.
Right,
So would you all
They're aware
recommend
of
we
the
do not
policy.
approve these surety releases?
I guess technically, if they pay them between now and Monday, it's
Okay.
fine.
Well,
Can you
if,
please
and if
send
they do
everything
not,
to
what
me?
would you
'Cause
all
I
recommend?
worked very hard and had no idea about any of this.
yeah,
Right,
so that's where we need to communicate. Yeah, we need to, because these were put out there. I know that MRB had signed off, MRB signed off on them and everybody, and they went through the process, so. We just need to make sure that if in a situation like that, we have them. And just identify that, hey, these guys didn't do it, so we don't have it on the agenda. Cause that also makes it awkward, especially in this situation with the history. And the amount of time we've been waiting and,
I mean, I guess that's just something we're gonna have to work into the process.
Yeah.
I am not aware of what sureties are
and
coming
what,
into
right,
release, but I'm the one who knows who owes chargebacks.
who knows the chargeback,
And
so,
I
we-
was aware of the surety releases and wasn't thinking about charge.
Right,
Right.
so-
Just trying to check all the boxes.
yeah, so maybe that's another box to add to the list, to just
Yeah.
double check for chargebacks.
Yeah,
we
The paper
Crystal,
list,
and we could add that as, you know, on your,
Yeah,
you've
do
got that nice checklist, what if we add that on there as a item? to check on?
Yeah,
so
I
double
mean, I'm
check,
just surprised MRB would sign off on it.
well,
They've
because
already received
They don't know about the
we pay.
chargebacks, right? Yeah.
Right.
We pay MRB, it's these people owe the town money, we've paid the invoice already, we're asking them to pay us back.
okay, so. I think that's a good learning experience from this, so let's take that and add that to the sheet. I know that checklist you inherited. But let's just add that to it, and I think it's,
Right, and I think in the future, we are using Cloud Permit
Mhm.
to send out the invoices, so
Better now.
it'll be obvious that people, if they have an invoice, that the clerk's office or whoever
Okay.
can actually look to see that there's unpaid invoices.
Okay.
But
So
these are older projects.
What
so
do we
they
wish
have-
to do on Monday if they haven't paid back today or tomorrow?
well, let's try to, if we can try to contact them and just say, hey, look,
That's
you're
the
gonna-
plan.
like, so example for Rocco, he's sitting on $84,000 right there.
Mhm.
I had a feeling, I don't know, I know that his charges are an issue to him. And I know there's some that he might not agree with, just the principle of them. But the fact that you pay, and I don't know what the amount is, let's say you pay, I'll just use a number, you pay a few $1,000s. He's gonna get back that $84,000 that he's got sitting there that he's been trying to get back for the last 5 years.
Mhm.
That's an exaggeration.
Possible to deduct it from the town fund? Surety, or is that a?
Sounds like a Nadler question.
Those are usually with the bank. Like those letter of credits and stuff, they're treated
This is a
different.
check. This is a surety check
It
that
is
we
a
are,
check, I mean, the monies are held in different accounts, sureties are held in a separate account because it's money we're just holding, so they're custodial funds, but.
2 of these are a check that we have
Yeah.
in that account. The third is a letter of credit that's already expired.
Thank you.
So I guess yes, but I'm not sure about what rules would.
Yeah,
what rules that we have, so that'll be a note, I'll write a note and we'll check with Natalie on that.
So work really hard to get them to pay it today or tomorrow.
I'll
On
call
Monday.
As soon as I get those, I'll call him,
Okay.
because he's been calling me to make sure these are gonna be on.
Yeah,
he called me
He
too,
is,
like last
well, I mean, he is aware of the policy
Right,
and
but
he has received the invoices.
do you know how recently he
Every
talked
month.
about those? He gets them every month.
Failure to pay is not the town's fault in this case.
no,
Right,
I mean, I hate to say it, but if he hasn't paid by the time we have this meeting on Monday, we probably shouldn't be
Right.
approving the surety releases.
Right.
That's our policy. I mean, I highly doubt he'll pay if we do give the surety out.
honestly, the letter of credit should get approved, it's expired anyway, the
Yeah.
bank is just looking for a release of negligence. The other 2, yeah, if he doesn't pay,
which one's a letter of credit? First one. So I don't have to go through. and-
Cooley Road or Gerber Homes?
Or-
it should say it in the
Cooley Road is
verbiage.
for a new house. building.
Cooley Road's a new
Different-
house and
that's a
that's not
different
Rocco.
It says the 157 says a 2-year maintenance.
It's fine.
It's
It's
not
the first
Gerber
one.
Homes. for
It's
sure.
156?
It's 156. It says right in the resolution that it
Okay.
is
I was just
letter.
A letter of credit, yeah.
I was trying to get away without rereading it, and trying to find that, so thanks for doing that for me. So that one's a letter of credit, and that one doesn't make, that one we can release anyway. So 156 will definitely act on, 157.
We'll let you know.
And the rest of those will 157, 158, we'll find out more what's going on, and we'll see if, to Terry's point, we can deduct that amount. If we could just deduct what he owes and then just send him, give him the balance on a check if that's legal. Then we can do that too and just be done with it. I think we all wanna move on from this,
Mhm.
not this right now, but this overall.
Park reservation reimbursement.
Parks, Crystalline, anything on that one? 159.
This. Okay, so I put a lot of backup in the attachments just so that you all could see exactly what the issue was. She quickly booked, is my guess, without paying attention, because it's there. There's 2 spots that it's very visible what our policy is. And she didn't see it. It was also in the confirmation that she has to sign. But she turned around and had to cancel. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I have her letter here, hold on. She was very upset, something about her mother used to work for the town and she thought that we didn't present the policy well enough on the website. I told her that we could put it before the board, and if they approved it, it wouldn't be an issue. And then I assumed you would.
Okay. So that's a little background on that one as we go through and look at it.
We did make an additional change and add 1 more location for the policy.
Okay. All right, any questions on that one? We can discuss that more on Monday. 160.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Before we move on, it wasn't a cancellation, it was the discount, the town resident discount. So she paid full price, and then she came back a week later and said she realized she should have gotten a discount. And it says the policy's there. And it
Okay.
says that you would not be refunded.
Okay,
Having booked twice in the last 2 years, something I've always come in person to do the town resident ones. it's awkward, but it is abundantly clear on the website that you need to get information by calling the clerk's office to get the tab rate.
All right, 160. Any questions on that?
And
Jim,
spell
you-
it Courtney.
Jim, you want to speak to that one at all?
That was this discussion we had the last board meeting, I approached the board on increasing $4 an hour, and at that time, we agreed that that would be correct, so the
Okay.
resolution's on here today.
All right. Any questions or comments on that one at this time? All right, 61. Is there unassigned fund balance? That we've discussed multiple times. Any questions on that for Jess with what we put through and how we allocated it?
Yeah,
You had your question, so go ahead.
well, we were told there was a $350,000 mistake. I haven't seen it yet.
I can get that information to you today. It's, like I had said before, it was the unassigned, or rather the project accounting for the highway improvement capital project. On the capital project side of our software did not reflect all the expenses that came out of that. Because it is a separate module than our general ledger accounts. So those updates have been made. I can give you a list of the updates, the invoices that didn't hit the capital project side.
It wasn't so much as an error as we were looking at the wrong information. when we
I
made
pulled,
decisions.
right, I pulled information from the capital project module for those reports that I sent out early in the year and not the actual GL accounts.
So just as a point of clarification, Jess. We were all at a PPW meeting.
Yes.
We were given a summary at that point. And based on that summary, we elected to move forward with some projects
Right.
that I think are represented here, okay?
Yes,
I think what you're telling me is, and what I'm hearing you say is that that summary was incorrect.
that is correct.
So I'd like to see that summary and what was incorrect on it.
Okay.
And then that'll help me understand.
Mhm.
And I want to pause just because we made those decisions based on that summary. And if that summary was wrong, I have the question of, do we want to still continue to make these expenditures or not?
And I think like what we talked
Unless
about,
I could see where we took the money from,
right?
which
That's what this is showing.
which funds might have been misstated, and we took the money for it from that particular fund to fund one of these particular projects. I don't know, I'm in the dark. And,
Right, so I think basically all that we might need is the fund, saying the fund that we have the amount for, saying this fund, we thought it was 400,000. These items had not, they did, the modules didn't talk to each other, so actually these three item amounts had already been taken out of that fund. So instead of having 400,000, they had 100,000,
Right.
for example. So if that can just be kind of spelled out, shown in a sheet, that's where that came from. We did leave the excess balance, we do have enough to cover it, like we had talked about, because we didn't spend that 450 that we were still using, so that's enough to. So we're not overspending the allocation that we decided to spend.
Yeah, and I understand that part.
Yeah.
I just would like to see.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to repeat myself, but I just want to see where the error was.
So we can get that,
Maybe you
anytime
can
between
save
now.
graphic.
you know, anytime between now and then.
Yep.
A chart or some sort of information to show this is what we thought, this is what had been deducted, but didn't reflect here. This is
Right.
what's actually in this one over here. right?
That leaves us with about $100,000.
Yeah.
Cause with 450, you needed 350
Yes.
to balance it.
Well, there's a lot more than that. That was, at least was 100,000 of what we wanted to take
Question
out.
is, will we still allocate everything?
Mhm.
Cause it's leaving us with a lot less of a pad, if you will.
Right.
than we thought we were gonna have, but as long as we're comfortable with that. do it.
Yeah, I think we're,
So. With the additional funds being of unassigned fund balance being utilized to make up that difference. With that, it puts us within our fund balance policy. Without it, we would still
We're
be
still not.
over on our fund balance policy.
So which makes, where does that leave our unassigned fund balance at?
$1.7
$1 million.
mhm,
And it's supposed to be,
under 1.8, I think it was this year.
okay,
So it puts us lower than we were anticipated, but we're
complying with our own
Complying with
policy.
our policy.
close to the top end of what we were supposed to be at, to
Yeah.
be in compliance.
Yeah, I saw that your range you had in your
Yeah,
summary report.
but yeah, I could definitely get that information out to you, John. I know there, I believe, off the top of my head, there were 2 Dolomite invoices that just, for some reason, hit our GL account side to pay the bill, but didn't cross over to the capital project. And, you know, those are big ticket items, so.
And that was the audit that found that, right?
It was in the, during the audit process, right, because they compare the capital project reports with the GL account reports, and they didn't match, so.
Not to belabor the point, but is there any way to make those two talk to each other? I mean, for
They
the
do,
progress,
there was a couple settings within the system that will, when you. Not to get too technical, but when you enter something that goes, when you pay your bills, you enter them on the general ledger side. And there's a section where you pick the code that it hits. And you can, if you pick a capital project, I changed the preference so that it will require you to enter the capital project. So you actually have to enter the code twice. And there happened to be in that capital project, it was set at optional. And so it just didn't get entered twice.
Perfect.
So,
so this should
yes.
help fix that. So we've found
Learning
another,
experience.
yeah,
It
exactly.
sends you a warning and says, no.
We
you
found
picked a capital
another,
Project, you
yeah.
have to enter enough, you know,
A
it's
number.
from
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
So. All right. 162 closing Uptown candidate with capital project
This was also a recommendation.
from our meeting.
Mhm.
Questions on that one? 63. Seneca Point Road culvert. Any questions or comments for Jess or Jim on that one?
These are all the decisions we made coming out of.
Yeah, coming out of that meeting.
Yep.
And it's nice to finally be able to take action on a lot of those things too. And put those on there on the to-do list. The next one, 64 is budget transfers. 65, Route
What was
364.
64 for? I'm sorry.
That's just the regular budget transfers that we do. 165 intermunicipal contract with Ontario County. This is the Route 364 sidewalk. Problem with this one, we committed 3 years ago-ish, 2.5, 3 years ago, to fund this portion of the project. It's a matching fund, so at FLCC, the Sands Foundation is paying some, counties paying some, we're paying some. Our amount is in here, that $36,000. The only problem is we had to find a spot to take it from because we said we would contribute, but we didn't have a spot designated. So we are taking it from capital project 38, which is complete streets. Because it is that sidewalk all along 364 and it will improve connectivity and walkability from, you know,
Yep.
Lake Shore to the entrance.
Good place to take it.
So
And we had some, we still have unbudgeted.
we still have a significant amount in there, but that's why the money came from there. Because we had to find a spot, because we had not designated a spot when we committed to the grant for this. All right, 166. Any questions for Lindsay? That's the Ananda Park roofs. Roofs, depending on where you live.
I already briefly explained this in our finance meeting. It was over our anticipated budget. However, I don't, at this point in time, anticipate having to do any budget transfers, but I will monitor that account.
All right, thank you. Any questions on 167? We talked about this too, but we're ready to move forward.
I didn't know we were ready to move forward on it. No, that's great.
We did, there were a few changes that we had to make in here, a couple edits, thanks to Sarah that she found.
Street level placement.
Yeah, so we went back through and did I catch everything that you,
When I
Wanted-
first saw it, I was like, oh, we're re-releasing it?
yeah,
And then I read it and I was like, well, I don't think that's what they meant.
so I went through and I tried to make it of awarding the contract to O'Connell Electric. So that should be up and all lined up right now.
How are we so off on what we anticipated that costing? when
We
were
have 9
planning for-
bids.
Yeah,
The lowest is 425, the lowest is 750.
yeah,
We had 3 bids are between 475 and 600.
but we were expecting like 800.
That was-
Is
they doubled the
that,
price.
is that what we're, I mean, what did we put in? Didn't we fund it with almost 700?
We funded
And
it
then
with
another
700.
100 from the bid, I thought. So I think we,
Could be.
No, we weren't
Should
gonna
we-
take the bid money out of it.
No, we didn't take it.
We didn't take the bid money
I thought
out
we
of
did
it.
100 grand from the
No,
That's all that was
700.
in there.
We said we wouldn't do that because we felt
Yeah.
it was street lighting for town wide.
No,
So what, I mean, do we need to put the 700 in there?
No,
Should we
but
put
we
less?
did. We took money, we're closing a capital project, which was for uptown
Yeah.
infrastructure.
That's what I
It's
thought it
not
said.
paid, that was not funded by bid
Yeah,
revenue. It was money that was taken from unassigned fund balance last year or the year before.
yeah,
So it came out of general fund anyway.
Yeah.
So now it's actually going back in the general
Yeah.
fund to pay for the streetlights. But yeah,
That's,
that's the 100,000 that you're thinking of.
that's
Yeah.
162. That's on this right here.
Mhm.
So that, but that, between that and then we had put, what was it,
Right.
600 for the,
There's
in,
700,000 coming.
yeah, so we don't need that much then. Shouldn't we reduce that 600?
well, we should probably do the cap,
I would.
it'll be less confusing once,
Yeah, I
do it
would
when the
just-
capital project's done. So once we finish the lights, that capital project's done, it's buttoned up,
Yeah.
it's finished.
And return it?
Then that money, that's closed out and that money goes back to the general fund. Then from the general fund, we can put it wherever else we might need it. Some of it's gonna have to come in here because we,
You wanna keep $300,000 just hanging out in there though? I
Well,
Did you
mean,
it's
say,
gonna be-
Jim, also that what wiring has not figured into that cost, so if they run into
Yeah, if they run
problems,
into a
right,
problem,
then we're on the hook, right,
So,
yeah.
I mean, if there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
fine,
yeah,
I
that's
just-
what, the way what I thought.
We're gonna need order 475.
Okay,
Nadler has reviewed the contract, MRB wrote the contract for this agreement. There'll be some soft costs, and we run into an issue out there.
Okay.
Which there may be some small stuff, I can't say that everything is,
yeah,
but
so you dig in the ground, yeah.
then we're covered. And
Okay.
maybe we don't spend it,
As
we'll
long
come
as
back to
it's,
general fund.
anything going back is floating back.
It's
or-
gonna
Yeah.
go back
So
into the
back to the
general
general
fund
fund.
unassigned
Okay.
fund balance.
and some of it,
Yeah.
like I said, some of it will probably come here to this building. There's a
Yeah.
couple of the changes, just we're changing, doing more in the bathrooms and doing more in the flooring.
Right.
So it'll come back.
So you mentioned we had bids from 425,
425.
so we're not awarding to the lowest bidder.
No, we are 425, so it's.
This is
I'm sorry,
475.
475, John, I apologize.
Okay.
You're fried a little bit.
I'm a little slow this morning, I'm a little slow.
So the
None of
low
us slept
bid,
last
low
night.
bid was bids went 475 and up.
You know,
I know.
Okay,
we had 9 people there.
all right,
Awesome.
which is
Yeah, it was
pretty good,
It was great.
when we thought we were only gonna get a couple.
Right.
And
Yes,
we got a good contract.
Yeah,
yes,
we do that with contractors.
yeah, so at lowest,
Mhm.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for that.
make sure I'm going on to the right one.
168.
Okay, 168, public hearing, clarify farm labor housing protections. And seeker intent to declare lead agency. Any questions on that one?
Does this actually really do much or just kind of indicate we support them? I mean, did we Is this removing that section?
Special use permit.
It's
Yeah,
removing
we're
that, right?
trying the
I haven't
town
read it, I'm
code
sorry.
To make the town's procedures in line with what the state ag and markets.
Yeah.
Dictates. So before, our town code said that you had to get a special use permit to put in farm labor housing, and the state has said that you can't do that. So we're removing those sections. We're also adding farm labor housing as a permitted use, which means it's permitted by right in those zoning districts that he has listed, that now they're listed in there. So like when, on the zoning side of things, when we get an application or someone wants to know, what can I do in the zoning district? We have a table in our code for every single zoning district, and there's some things that are listed as permitted uses and other things that are listed as specially permitted uses. Anything that was listed under a specially permitted use would trigger a special use permit. And so just to make it even more clear, he now suggested that it be written in a way to add farm labor housing as a permitted use. Because agricultural uses and structures are already a permitted use in those zoning districts. So he just wanted it to be more clear.
Are you gonna be around on Monday?
Yeah, I was gonna.
I'd
either
love to
call
have
or
you
see-
say the exact same thing on Monday so that that's clear to people that that's what this
And
is
the
doing.
memo
so.
says that.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I haven't read all the attachments yet.
Any other questions on that? All right, 169 seasonal employees.
I think I'm gonna have to like recuse myself from this vote because I know all these kids, they're great
Are we
kids.
on, are we full?
Full.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's a great crew.
All right, 170, we have a new code enforcement officer, some of you might know him. Sam Moore. So Sam is switching from the clerk's office to code enforcement. And everybody is very excited for the opportunity
I didn't know
that this is
this.
gonna give him.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
Wasn't there an issue though that he couldn't?
There was with the county, but he was able to submit some extra documentation and they were able to approve his
That's good.
application,
Good.
so.
and the nice thing is he'll be able to come on board and he will work towards his training. And we're kind of staggered, so he'll be coming on board and then I get, a lot of his training can be done in the winter time when things slow down a little bit at the end of summer. So that will be, that'll be a good opportunity for him
When is
and
he
for
switching?
us.
We're working on a transition plan. We have to work with Crystal and Mike Murphy, so.
Is that then fully staffed, then our code enforcement officers, or do we have another one still out there waiting?
For this year, it will be staffed.
Yeah. 71, resignation of part-time finance clerk. Kate has officially kind of stepped down from her part-time, moving on to her next phase and next stages. So we will miss her.
She's still in law school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that complete?
No, she's got a couple of years left.
She's doing she's
think
got a
I'm gonna
really
vote it
cool
down.
internship lined up this year,
So
this summer, and yeah,
She's so excited,
for her.
yeah.
yeah, she's doing awesome.
Very nicely.
She's doing awesome. Yep.
And she's done a great job setting up, Jess and the town, to continue what she's already.
Yeah.
Been working on, so,
Very missed.
yes.
172, another resignation. We had Paul Arndt as a consultant to the assessor's office. He is no longer needed in that role. And our assessors are doing a great job as well, moving forward with that. So rather than kind of leave things out there, we've terminated that agreement with him. He's resigned and now he's free to move on to other things that he wants to do. 173, the CAP members. So we've got that up and running, and this is these are the results of the first group, the first meeting that we had. So the members are listed, and in the attachments, there are quick bios for each member. So you can read a little bit about them and find out about their background. Thanks to Sue for putting that together.
Is Kim Burkhart a resident?
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a way we decided 1-year term, 2-year terms for that?
Just
or-
all ultimatums.
They offered, it was
all
who wants a
offered.
1-year term, who wants a 2-year term, and we just went at it that way, and we didn't have to do any. There were no real difficult decisions that had to be made with us. They all kind of were able to get what they felt comfortable doing.
Are there more still interested, or is this probably the end?
Well, this is it, because this fits what we have.
Okay.
That's not to say that others will not be asked to join for other projects or other things that might happen.
And
There's a couple of people that just didn't wanna commit, but they're willing to do like some committees.
Yeah.
when
So I
do,
haven't-
when do they meet?
Their first official meeting will be July 2nd.
Are they gonna have a schedule, or they're figuring that out?
Dude, that's.
Yeah.
That's, yep. Any questions on that one? 74, alcohol beverage permit.
Okay, so my question about all of these, we used to, when they asked for the beverage permit, it would indicate who their caterer was. Cause I believe, and Terry and Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when we approved this, they had to have a caterer who had a license to serve alcohol.
Mhm.
I don't see the caterer name in any of these.
It's in the application.
Is it in the
Is it in the
application, which is in the
attachment?
attachment?
Okay,
King's
good.
Party House, is that this one?
Kings for 2 of them.
I haven't read all the
Yeah.
attachments, so that's
Yeah.
why I probably don't know all this.
Edward Milligan is his own, he is the applicant, and he is also the one applying for the permit.
Does it say in there if he has a license to serve alcohol?
Yeah.
You know, okay.
So, and it wouldn't even get that far. I mean, it's a great question. And we can look through and make sure that all the documentation is in there. But that is a stipulation that it has to be a licensed insured vendor.
Okay, sorry. That's what happens when I don't have time to read the
They had
attachments.
insurance binders and, listed in the attachment.
The insurance is in there, yes.
Yeah.
Remember, see,
Yeah, back there, yeah, so he's got his own business.
Okay. It's all good, just making sure.
77 is a cable television franchise agreement with Spectrum.
Do we gotta do that with DirecTV and other people? Cause it's not on the ground or what?
When Spectrum came in, this dates back decades. And it was just part of the agreement of when they came in, maybe because they were the first coming through. I don't know, but it's not just us in discussions with, I mean,
Yeah,
Pete
it's
Ingle,
other
Pete
towns, I
asked for
know.
the same information. He asked for it to steal all of our information that we had. So he could go through and use it, Farmington.
They used to be charter.
It used to be Charter, it used to be
Time Warner.
Time Warner, it used to be like Cablevision. So, but and
I didn't know if that was, if there was a reason why it's just cable.
mhm. And this is just television.
Yeah.
So this is, and anybody who has their TV service, if you have their internet service, it's nothing. If you have their TV service, then you pay $3 in your bill, that $3 comes into the town. It's been rolled, I don't know for how many years, rolled into the general operating budget. Some towns use that money and set it aside to expand broadband. I think South Bristol does, to expand their broadband, but as of right now, as far as I can see going back, it's been rolled into the general operating fund. We can negotiate that fee, but
Just costs our
since
residents more, we might as well not.
it's a fee residents pay, I don't have any interest in changing it. 78 is a speed limit study for Weifels Road. That's a result of the resident request at our last board meeting. The petition and everything is included in there. So we'll see what comes from that. And then 79 is rezoning the parts of 332 to R130 from form-based code.
So what is that? Why are they doing this? And
That's
where is
Dr.
it?
Campbell's house.
Yeah,
Oh.
so they submitted a formal rezoning application. Yeah, it's owned by Bruce Campbell. I guess that plus a lot of the other land right in that area has been owned by him for years. And the form-based code went into existence. I don't remember this part because I wasn't in the development office at the time, but I read some of the notes sounds like some of these outlying corner edge lots were given a choice. Stay out of the form-based code or go into it, and they allowed it to be put into it, but they've changed their mind. They would like to build a house. It's
This is Thomas Road over there.
Thomas and Summers, it's on the corner.
Okay.
There's a 3-acre parcel. To the west is a private house across the street, our homes. To the south is a vacant lot, which this used to be a part of that lot. It was subdivided. And then to the east is another vacant lot. I've spoken with the Campbells. I've, let them know, if the town board were to approve this and you eventually submitted site plan to build a home, there's no knowing what could go in next to you across the street from you. It's all in, it would all still be in the form-based code. Anything that's allowed in the form-based code could be built. And so we're aware of that. We know that. It's just that we have wanted to build in this land for a long time. Maybe they shouldn't have allowed it to be in the form-based code, but anyway, they can ask for this, so they're asking.
Is it the 332 sub area that they're in?
It is in the 332 sub area, which is why they're not.
They can't
allowed
build a
to
house.
Single family home unless they rezone this. The zoning district they're requesting to be rezoned to is what it was before. Formal rezoning, and I've talked with Natalie to make sure, since we have so many different rezoning processes, formal rezoning, just traditional rezoning does not require a site plan to accompany it, so they don't have one. There's maps in their file permit application, which is included in your attachments for this, showing a subdivision they did last year. So it shows the 3-acre parcel with the pond. They've got a letter of intent included in their application, which is in the attachments, explaining what they want to do. So their application is complete. They paid the fee. Rezoning process says that the town board can choose to refer this to the planning board for an advisory report, so that's how the resolution is written. So I think you guys just have to decide if you want to do that, and then
Or if we just
we'll
want
take
to,
it through the process.
So this is right next to the veterinary office.
It's not on the same, it's on the other side of
it's
Summers.
across the street, across Summers from it.
And the veterinary office is in a separate parcel. There's a vacant parcel.
Yeah.
Between,
He wants to, this is his final home.
Yeah.
So it's
that's what
closer
they
to
He wants it near
332
his
from
office.
Summers.
no, it's the other way.
On the corner of Thomas and Summers on the west, southwest corner.
It is the corner.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at your picture.
And I wasn't trying to talk them out of it when I was talking about, future development. I just wanted to make sure they knew what they were,
What was gonna happen
what
around them.
could potentially develop around them. There's no knowing, what, but they seem fully aware of what the future could hold and still like, it's a 3-acre parcel, so there's a bit of it's in space around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, from planning side of things, I don't see it as a big deal. It was before there was a discussion on whether or not to even include it, I guess, so it is an edge piece, there's residences around it. So I don't,
It's all
you have
houses
to draw
around
the
it,
line
right?
somewhere, right? One of these code zoning districts starts somewhere, and I guess at the time there was a discussion on whether or not to include that.
Yeah, there
parcel.
was.
So from
There
my
was at that time, the peripheral, right on the edge.
It is, so from
Some
my
people said yes,
perspective,
some-
just guessing on what was going on at the time, it sounds like the town wasn't concerned which way it
No.
went, it gave them a choice. I mean, yes, they were aware of it at the time and they didn't choose to do it, and so they've known, they just think it's just a simple, well, they've changed, they've changed their mind and they
Yeah.
wanna do this now, so.
I think it's fair.
um,
And the pond will essentially be screening behind them anyway, behind. So
Yeah, Randy Farnsworth owns the land to the south, and so, yeah, that pond would, I have no, I don't know what their site plan would involve, so I don't know where they would plan to put this house, because they haven't submitted anything yet, but.
is it still inside the MUL?
No, form-based code replaced,
Replaced it
everything
completely?
that is zone form-based code, that is the only zoning district, it replaced, the MUO overlay above it, it was replaced completely by form-based code.
All right, thank you. So that brings us to the end. We do have our financials at the bottom. Any other questions or comments on this? So There's some information that should be coming out between now and then that we'll have follow-ups on. And if anybody has any questions or anything else, bring them to the meeting. Be a good time.
If anybody wants to early vote tomorrow, I'll be at the Board of Elections. Come see me.
Alright. So, I am gonna have a quick chat with individuals. I need to talk to a few people out there.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?